Are we? Hey? It's great to see you all. Look absolutely fantastic. Really excited. I'll just try and keep it cool, but I am really excited. I hope you guys are all really excited as well. On the stage with these two wonderful men. Life couldn't be much better. So I'll park up, sit up. Just before we start, if you've got a question, we'll do a few questions at the end. Here's some instructions on the screen behind Tangaroa. Go to slido.com, enter hashtag Fieldays Yarns, fire your question through, and we might answer it. Okay? So, as Tim said, my name's Brodie Kane. It's great to be here at Field Days with you. This is, we know, farmers, the lifeblood of the nation, and it's been a great couple of days here. Got around pretty much all of the stalls. What was that thing that I got wrong yesterday? I thought this big pool was a farmer's spa, but it's for cow shit, so thought that would be a good idea for a spa though. But anyway, I had a great look around, and last time I was here I was working on the breakfast show for TVNZ, and that was in 2017, and that's when they still had the Rural Bachelor competition. I don't think it's on. I've been looking, but I don't think it's on. And I thought that this one chap was, quite a nice guy, and thought that we sort of, had a little bit of a vibe going, and we exchanged numbers. I'm not entirely sure if that was the rules when you're on the clock, but anyway. And so I thought, sweet, he might text me later, and he did text me later, but he was just using me to try and get on breakfast again for his business. So that's the last time I was here. But it was a great time, and I'm really happy to be here again. Sorry, but it's not about me, so I'll stop that. We are really happy to have you here at the Westpac tent. Obviously this is Field Days Yarns, brought to you by AonAgri. We've got a great team, as Tim mentioned out the back, to help you with all your insurance needs, and we know, having been someone that's from Canterbury, that when the rain happens and then the no rain for ages, they're the people you need to speak to, so have a chat to them at the end if you like. Now, the idea of this whole event is to foster some conversations, important conversations that are crucial to helping rural New Zealand communities flourish. What we're going to do today is have a bit of a yarn. We're going to share some stories, and with that sort of talk about the importance of mental, physical, maybe a bit of financial. T and I admitted yesterday that both of us are absolutely rubbish at financial advice. I'm not sure about you, Willie, but we'll give it a crack. And yeah, I'm really excited to introduce your guests today. I have met and spent a bit of time with Tamara Walker over the past year or so. He is the AonAgri brand ambassador, dairy farmer that lives in Southland and loves his job so much. He's so passionate about what he does, and what he then does is shares that passion, passes on his knowledge, because what he wants to do is have everyone on the same page and sharing so that everyone can be successful. And I just think that the work that he does with Farm for Life is wonderful. So it's great to have Tangaroa here, and I do love you, T. I do think you're awesome, but I'm going to have to admit that the man sitting next to you is just slightly more awesome. Willie Apiata is, we know who he is. One day we didn't, and then we did. Former corporal in the New Zealand Special Air Service, got the first Victoria Cross of New Zealand, which he received in July 2007 for bravery under fire during war in Afghanistan in 2004. And what we would say about Willie is that he is a hero. But I know that heroes don't strive for that word. They don't want to be that, but we bestow it upon them. And I'm going to call you that to the day I die, because I think you're wonderful. The fact is, one day we didn't know who he was, and then now everybody does. And you were thrust into the spotlight because of your bravery, but you have admitted that you were just doing your job. So we will hear a bit about that. First of all, it's great to have you here, and I think we'll just do one more round of applause, because I'm really excited. Don't want to keep blowing too much smoke, because we're just having a conversation. But
you won't be able to fit in the room.
Exactly. First of all, how are you? What have you been up to lately?
What have I been up to lately? the last thing I've been doing was I caught up with Tangaroa. I was travelling down to the South Island to do my values program with the schools. So I was starting at Blenheim, Kaikoura, and working my way down, and just happened to bump into Tangaroa on the ship. So, yeah, we had a bit of a catch up on there with a few ladies that were heading back from the horse sports. So we got to talk about horse sports, farming, feed, all sorts of stuff, really, making contracts and all of that. So, I've been pretty busy with the old horse my values program with our young people, because values is all about creating your own swimming lane and giving you your own direction, and it's created by yourself, so that you can move forward with something that you've created to support yourself. It gives you a way to measure what you do, and your values must also resonate with you. So, there's something that comes from here.
And so that's going around the schools?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you love working with kids?
I love it, eh?
Yeah.
I suppose I brought my sons today, but I thought they might stay and speak, but they hear Dad every day, so they said, we're out.
Did they fleece you before they left?
No, I said, no, go and get all the free stuff first.
Brilliant. Well, and T, I mean, obviously, you are someone as well that likes to teach people about values and share your love and knowledge. What makes you guys do that? Give your time to others. Willie, we'll start with you and T after.
Well, why not? Hey.
Good answer.
Why not give your time? As I was growing up as a young man, people in my community shared their time with me, and they didn't have to. And that's what it is about today. Being a little bit kind to people, sharing a bit of love and peace, and that's what it's all about, rather than having an expectation that you should always get something back in return. And that's what friends are about, and family are about. You shouldn't have to ask for something. You should be able to just give. Knowledge is a gift. You didn't steal it off anybody. Someone gave it to you.
Awesome. T?
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. So I love sharing knowledge. Like, I was really fortunate to have some awesome mentors, and for me to be able to use social media, I suppose, and leverage off that to share a message and get far and wide. I think that's what it's all about. I don't think I've ever given something away and felt bad about it. So it literally makes you feel good as well. So always giving, especially with knowledge.
It's interesting as well, because that saying is, never do something for someone and expect something in return. Yeah. That's the way that you're supposed to do it. So it's great to hear you guys say that. Now, Willie, it has been a wee while since you have been on the front line. What is life like? I know how much you loved being a soldier and being in the army and being with your friends and being with your teammates. What's life like not being a soldier?
Well, that's pretty tough actually. I thought being in the SAS was hard. Pretty hard to get in there, to do your first 9 days on selection course, and then a further 9 to 10 months just to prove that you have the goods to be a special force soldier. But the toughest job I've come across in my life has just been a parent, because every day you are challenged, and you never know what your kids are going to come up with or say to you, because everything they say is absolutely honest out of their mouths. And their expectation is they just want you. So the biggest challenge I have in my life is just time. To find the time to spend as much time with my boys and be at the activities and to be present in their life. Because the only thing they want is me. Is the time with their father or their mum, and that's it. So that has been the toughest thing, The transition out of the service has been tough, but just trying to be the parent I want to be to my sons is the biggest challenge I have in my life, and it's good. It is something I enjoy. I'm very passionate about it, because when I was in the services, my family comes second. Because if I was asked to go away, I would never say no. And my parents, my family would just be at home, and they just have to keep the fire burning, regardless of where I went. And the notice to move was usually none. No notice to move, so just expecting a phone call from your partner and then not being able to say hooray is pretty tough on a family to live with. And knowing that you come second, and you're not the first priority in your life. So when I retired, my family moved back into number one. and that's where they sit now. So, you know, like I said, time to spend with my family is the biggest challenge, and just being patient every day, because you're not going to get it right. You're going to make mistakes, but it is the learning part that we take away from it. And I've learned off my son so much. You know, my eldest son's 18 years old. I used to think, because I do a lot of work with horses, that I still had the big leather strap reins like this, and I could, you know, get a feel on the rein, pull it one way or the other way, and it would just work. I pulled on them one day, nothing happened. Hey, nothing happened because my son has grown up. He's a young man now. He wasn't my boy. And so my reins now are just little pieces of cotton. And you know, I pull on ever so lightly, because the last thing I want to do is break a piece of cotton, the cord in the relationship between me and my son. Because it's so important that every time my boys look at me, they look at me with love in their eyes and respect, and that's all I want in life from my kids.
Willie, what do they think about Willie Apiata, VC, the war hero? Do they talk to you about that, or are you dad?
I'm just dad to my boys, but I educate my sons, and I've done that since they were little fellas beginning to understand what the award was. And when I first took it to Barton Race School, I pulled it out. It was about 5. One of his mates went, "Check out all that money." And I was going like this, I tried to pull them off, and no, medals. I said, they are worth a lot of money, but they're not money.
You'd get a good amount on trade, mate.
And it's all about education, because, you know, having a Victoria Cross and the day it all sort of happened, it immediately and instantly changed my life. And that is a lot to deal with, you know, so much, from going from a very private person that worked for an organisation that was secret, like top secret and above top secret was what we did. And then to be thrust out into the media and know that not just the people in the compound knew me, it was the world. Not New Zealand, the world. It was global. And I was just a young man trying to deal with all this stuff pouring and having no idea on how to find the balance with it. So it took years. It took years of, I suppose, finding yourself to find out who is the person that I am to be now, because I can't just be Willie Apiata anymore, because they took that away from me when I was awarded this. So I now have to evolve into the next person I need to be. I always know that when I go home though and go through my gate, I'm dad. But when I step out, I am this person. Whether I wear it or not, I am the VC. This is just a symbol that recognises it. And you know, we're going here to talk about well-being and stuff today, further on, and which we'll touch on. And you know, I'll tell you my story of this, because it is, you know, it's like a farmer's life, You never know what you're going to get every year. And every morning when you wake up, you don't know what the expectation is of that day. But whatever it gives you, you deal with it, no matter what. No matter what struggle or blocks in front of you, you still get from sun up to sundown, regardless, because you have an expectation to look after all those lives that you have on your farm. You know, because they are lives, and they need to have the same respect and values wrapped around them as our taonga we have in the room, which is our rangatahi. Because they're all there to sustain us and look after us. My medals here have been repaired about 4 times since I've had them. It's because I give them out to all our people, because they don't belong to me. I gifted them to the people of New Zealand so that we all carry it, because it is heavy and I cannot carry this on my own. And I need the support of every New Zealander to be able to continue the work that I do, which is supporting our rangatahi at our schools, teaching the values programs, my horse clinics, which I'm now just starting to work with veterans, teaching them about how to find their calm, their centre, and to find that plateau to quieten down the noises that are always going on up here. And I find that in horses. Because one thing, they don't talk back. All they do is listen, and they understand. They can feel what I feel, and they can help take that off me. And lastly, is love is the most important thing in life. And I do feel all the people that had this and carried this before me, and the ones that fought left and right of them, was the love for each other that kept them going. So I'll give this to you guys. See you guys in a little. Hey, pass them around, take photos, give it a rub. Because you know, you may have someone that has served in the forces or serving now, and you know, people have found their own connection with their whānau through the Victoria Cross. 1,366 VCs have been awarded since my time, and there's only 9 of us still living in the world. So the eldest of us all is Mr. Cruikshank VC, 100 years old, be 101 this year. Kia ora.
And when you, because you've been over after the award, you've travelled to Passchendaele, and you've been to meet the Queen and all of those things. But I saw a video when you were in Passchendaele, and how special that was to see other VC winners who have gone. What was it like being over there, experiencing that?
I went over for the 90th anniversary of Passchendaele. I'd only just been awarded the VC. Passchendaele was an educational trip for me to try and help me give an understanding of what I had. Yeah, I found plenty of Victoria Cross holders in the fields of Passchendaele, but it is quite an emotional and saddening place, really, to see how much death is laying out on the fields, and you still ask yourself why. You know, we still celebrate commemorate Anzac Day, but it was over 8 months we lost all those lives. In Passchendaele, they lost more in the space of 40 minutes of New Zealanders. They only went about 200 metres. And it was one of the biggest losses for our country. But that place is a symbol, and to help us reflect that we should never ever go back to that way again, because it is horrifying. War is horrifying. You know, the things I've seen and been a part of, you know, they stay with you for life. And I don't want anyone else to see that, you know. Even for my boys have their own freedom in life to do what they want and choose. I will not make them join the forces. It is their life to make their own choice. I joined because I wanted to serve my country and to give it the same security as what I had growing up. Because what I've seen around the world, they have no security. Even in the UK now, they have rifles on the streets. It almost looks like the city of Kabul, where every corner there's an AK-47 or an armoured truck or a tank rolling down the street. We're here in Mystery Creek. The most vicious thing you see out here is a tractor. Or a pretty awesome looking 4-wheel drive. But over there it's different. Everything's a war machine. You know, so we are really, really lucky at what we have. And people always ask me, where's the best place you've been in the world? And I say, it's here. And they say, is there anywhere you want to go? But no. Everywhere I've been is to sort of the hardest places where they had the most trouble around the world. And every time we've gone there, it is actually just to help people. We've never been hunters, if that's what you think. It's really out there, the hearts and minds, in trying to give those people a little bit of security so they can have a small bit of freedom in their life.
T, I'll bring you in as well, and let's talk a little bit about how you came to be where you are today. Little young whippersnapper, moved around a few foster homes, and then went and lived with an aunt and uncle in Whakamarama, and then hit up the local piggery farm for a job, and then wanted to move on, so hit up the piggery farm's brother for another job, and at 14 started making some coin, and then one day decided I'm going to Southland and we'll fill in the gaps, we'll get you to fill in the blanks. But he basically chucked his dogs in the car and drove to Southland, and the rest is history. So let's fill in some blanks and let's talk about that upbringing and how that taught you what you wanted to do and your passions and your values.
Yeah, so I suppose, guys, just like you guys, I'm so captivated by the pros corridor, and I'm still wondering if you're still looking for a husband. To be honest, bro, because I see a few good-looking, handsome young fellas out there. Yeah, so for me, guys, I made this decision to get away from, get out of my nest at a young age. I wanted to go and explore, I suppose, the world in New Zealand, and I also wanted to get away from my pain-in-the-ass uncle. So I went as far away as I could in New Zealand to get away from him. He's a love of my life, but yeah, I just wanted to get away, get down south. And so I pretty much, I was sitting in the cow shed, asked my boss at the time how I could be successful and rich, because I come from nothing, and I thought that's what I wanted at the time. And he said, oh, you should go where the grass grows the greenest and the cheapest. And I said, where's that? And he said, Southland. So Googled Southland, and it come up with a place with 3 pubs and about 2,000 people, which was the top pub, middle pub and the bottom pub in Winton. Thought that was Southland, and yeah, pretty much moved down. So from the time I asked him about that, where I should go to be rich or successful, to me being down in Southland on this farm was 14 days. So 14 days from the time he told me. He was pissed off that I had got the job. I literally said to him, I've got a job, and he said, when do you start? And I said, oh, they want me down in 11 days, and he was pissed off. And I was like, well, you told me to go down. So yeah, that was sort of the journey down there.
And so when you got there and you were on your own, did you feel lonely? Were you scared? How did you sort of get involved and find some people in a support network down there?
I suppose when you're younger, you just want to go and explore. Like, you don't have any, there's no fear. I don't think men get fear or they don't realise that there's consequences to your actions until probably about 26. So yeah, I sort of just went out there, and I relate my move down to Southland a lot like free diving. So I love free diving, kai gathering, and giving away the kai that we go and shoot or catch. And so diving is like a lot like me moving down there. I love going out and exploring new rocks, that sort of stuff. And there's uncharted waters. There's good kai there. So going down south was sort of like that.
Yeah. So if we talk, guys, let's talk a little bit about physical well-being and how you look after your body. Was that an important thing?
Are you saying do we go to the gym?
Maybe. I know how. Look. Just to let you on a little secret, I've kind of got one small thing in common with Willie, in which he joined the Territorial Forces first, and I also joined the Territorial Forces. I don't really have that many cool stories to share, but just thought I'd let you all know that we've had a bit of banter. Anyway.
Physical well-being.
Yep, and so I know how many press-ups Willie probably used to be able to do.
Not many.
Not many?
Just enough to pass. That's all you need to do. Okay? Don't overcompensate yourself, otherwise they'll expect it.
Brilliant. But yeah, so being physically fit as a farmer and as a soldier is obviously very important, but I dare say it's also, you have to look after the mind just as much as the body.
Yeah, well, physical well-being, I go to the doc once a year, just get my high on fitness, make sure everything's still ticking over. I haven't been back to the gym since I left the regiment, since I retired. Because we used to go in and smash ourselves to pieces. Because we needed to every day, once, twice or 3 times a day, just to keep yourself in that peak condition you needed to be in. But at home, I get enough exercise out of my horses. I was just telling Sarah, because I do practice leading every morning first, which is usually a few circuits around the farm, running, trotting, and even walking like an old man.
Just getting ready.
Because I'm preparing my horses for when I'm either like this or like that. So I can still take my horses, and it keeps me fit. So I spend the first part of my day every day jogging around my farm with a horse tied to me. And you know, the work I do on the ground and riding them keeps me physically fit. And as farmers know, anyone that's got grass under their feet, you're fit, all right, because you do most of it on foot. Walking around the farm, fencing, all that sort of work, you know, it keeps you in shape. It does.
T?
Yeah, so I've got a functional fitness gym down south, guys, and believe it or not, yeah, bro, I haven't been to the gym for about a year and a half, eh? I'm literally going for the fattest gym owner in NZ at the moment. Straight up. I'm carrying a tyre in my hips, so yeah, it's unfortunately I love kai, so I don't train enough to get rid of probably what I'm consuming. But for me, bro, I suppose playing rugby is what keeps me fit and keeps me sane. I like to perform on the rugby field, hate letting down the brothers, as you well know. So I suppose that's my angle there, is trying to keep fit, is trying not to let the brothers down and get too tired and not be able to think.
Well, I came back from a run last night, and he was doing, what are you doing, 10, 20, 30, 10 press-ups, 20 squats, 30 sit-ups. And you're supposed to, I shouldn't narc on you, eh?
10 rounds, we cut it short because she walked in.
Yeah,
she literally walked in and did one round for me, and that was it. That was my excuse to finish.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess as well though, talking about the rural community and yes, physical well-being is important, but mental well-being is really important. But and I've seen quite a lot around field days in terms of, I kind of think it's switching, where now there is a lot more attention being paid to going, well, you look after your animals well, you look after your land well, what about yourself? So T, what do you do to look after yourself and realise that actually, I don't know, rural self-love is just as important as the people in Auckland that go to the day spas, not it?
Yeah, for me, bro, I suppose like for all of us here that are farming, I think of farming as like, it's a lot like social media really. Like it's just busy, mate. Like you don't know what's going to pop up. You can scroll and go down a rabbit hole, and a lot like farming, sometimes, you know, we can be working away and there is no end to our day. And when you've got no end to the day, you really struggle to appreciate what you've done. So for me, mate, like in terms of gratitude and appreciation, every day I come home and we sit around the dinner table with my darling, we do high, low and hero. So my high for today is obviously seeing the pro again. My low, haven't got a low yet, but we've still got about 12 hours left in the day. Yeah, and my heroes you too, bro. So you've taken out all three. So I practice that every day, high, low and hero. It balances things out with the high and the low, but then when you nominate somebody in your life as a hero for the day, that you're giving back. So you tell that person, you know, you're my hero today. You're like, oh, thanks, man. And I'm like, yeah, no, all good. You know, cost me nothing, giving you heaps. So that's how I sort of, get through some tough things on farming, especially during calving.
Willie, I know that, and you've mentioned a few times how passionate you are about horses. So would horses, being around the horses, be your rural self-love?
They're my medicine. Because they give me balance within my day and for whatever's happened to me that day. Because having a Victoria Cross and PTSD is quite a hard thing to live with. And because I have a VC, I am reminded every day that I carry one. I have the expectation of the public to live up to, an expectation of my brothers in arms and the people of New Zealand. And it's hard, you know, everybody thinks I'm some Superman, but I'm not. I'm just a dad, a son, and I'm a brother. I'm just a normal person. I come from a little place. I was born in Mangakino, of all places, and I brought up in a little place called Takaha. And you know, I'm just as normal as the young fellas and young people in here. But I think the difference was we had drive to try and do something with our lives, and we found the road where it made us make a choice on which way to go. Now living with that every day and trying to find some sort of mental well-being, it is hard because I've not only had trauma from my military career, but my trauma stems from my childhood as well. You know, I grew up in a harsh week, and even now the noises are so loud in my head. And I said to Sarah before I started, if I start to lose it a bit, can you just stop what we're doing? Because today I'm having a tough day. But last night, I spent all night writing everything down. And what I am doing is I am transferring it from here and here and letting it out of my body. And I'm writing it all down like a story. I'm writing a book. I'm taking all those words out. And even speaking to you today, I no longer carry my burden. I'm sharing it so that the load on my shoulders isn't just my own now. It is shared with others. And I know I'm not the only one with that story in my life. There are many of us like that have lived through that. And it's just saying, it is real, acknowledge it. And that's the only way you're going to find a way to get past it. We are all different and we all need different ways of being able to get the right support to get through. Mental health, my mind health take over my life. And I do all of that. That is my medicine for my family, so that I'm as good as I can be for them. I'm not going to get it right all the time, but you got to do something. That's all. And you got to tell somebody, because otherwise they will just think you're nuts. They will. They go, shucks, we just send them to the ward now. Who gives a shit about asking them? And sometimes all we want is just an ear. We don't want your feedback. We don't want anything like that. Just so we can get it all out and say it. And say it out loud. And you've got to do it honestly, otherwise it does not work, because you're still holding something back. You have to open the vessel and just let it pour out of you, and then you will feel so much lighter. I went to sleep last night and my heart was no longer heavy and my head was a little bit quiet. And I woke up this morning to see all my boys. First they say, "Love you, Dad, be ready, we're off the field days." And that was the start of the day, you know, so it's starting the day smiling. The first words that I hear is, "I love you." And my main medicine is, for anybody that goes through any sort of mind health, is the first thing you got to do is love yourself. And look in the mirror and go, "I love me." You've got to love what you're looking at. Otherwise, you've still got a lot of work to do. Love what's looking back at you. I shaved my beard off last night because I wasn't liking what I saw. And then when I took it off, and there's the young boy I know. He's as handsome as anything. Got a beautiful smile. Hope you like Tom Jones, they throw undies at me. No. But it is just doing stuff, eh? You feed the one that's going to help you, not the one that's going to keep pulling you down. Because the one that's going to pull you down, you'll be as hungry as anything. You feed the one that is going to make you feel good.
I think what's amazing, Willie, about that discussion, and T, I think you'll agree with me, is, and you will all know, we all know that the stats around mental health in New Zealand are appalling, and particularly in the rural sector, and particularly with men. So I just want to applaud you for opening up and having that conversation. And T, you are also someone that talks and shares your feelings, and it's okay to cry or open up. So I think you would agree strongly and be in fully support of Willie's kōrero.
Yeah, hard out. Oh, you're right, you hit the nail on the head there. I think a lot of the times on farm, you know, on farm, guys, it's pretty, you know, we're so passionate about what we do, bros. You know, we love farming, we love our animals, we love looking after the environment and everything that comes with it. But a lot of the time we're in love with this job that isolates us, you know. We're in love with the job that isolates us. And when you're feeling down, you need to be around people, eh? You know, and that's, for me, us opening a gym was never for a financial decision. It was always about giving people a place where they can come work out, feel good about themselves, but afterwards when we stretch, we have we do our high, low and hero. Literally, when we do our stretches after every workout, we do at the gym. And it's amazing what people come in and say, you know. So just allowing that open space, and yeah, for me, mate, like getting away from the farm and talking to people, we just don't speak up. You know, we're men, bro. And you're a hearty man, you're a farmer, probably play rugby down at the local rugby club, and you got your missus, and you don't want her to think you're a pussy and all that sort of stuff. Literally, you know, it's like all of us men here right now. You know, we're all pretty rigid. Yeah, bro. So what's some advice for us, bro? I mean, you're the ultimate man, bro. You know what I mean?
The expectation.
Like, yeah, expectation. You know, literally. You know? So all of us men all feel like that. But how do we take this jacket off and just show a bit of vulnerability?
Go and have a look in the mirror. And have a look what's looking back. But just be honest with yourself. Be honest with your wife, your partner. That's all it is. And then the hardest thing for us is trying to get the support. You know, the psychological support or the medical support that we need to wrap around this age, because it is tough and the wait to get it is horrendous. You know, so you just got to be proactive and look for words, what do you call them, quotes, anything like that to help give you that inspiration. You know, you've got to, because when you bring up the phone and you ask somebody, hey, I need some help, you know, really, when you pick up the phone and ask, they're going to ask you, so how can we help you? You know, so you've got to know, you've got to have a think to yourself, you know, what help am I actually looking for? Because you want to look for the one that is actually going to help you. Hey, because we're all different. Not all of us need a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a counsellor. Some of us might just need a horse or a cow or a dog or a boat, or just to catch up with family, or a reading, or physical healing, or, you know, there's so much different stuff out there to help it just come. To me it is coming out, hey. For 3 days I've cried, and it's like all the sickness emptying out of your body. It is. You know, it's okay for us men to cry. It's the only way to release all, it's like toxin from your body. Because if we don't, it stays there, like a dam. You know, you gotta open the spillway, get off the pressure. It's like my horses, that's how I work. It's all pressure and release. And for my horses to find the release point, I have to give them the right information. And if they go the wrong way, it is my fault, because I didn't supply that horse with the right information to go left instead of right. And so when I give it that right info, the horse finds the point of release and no pressure. And he does this first time quite troubled, second time a little bit troubled, after that no worries at all. And it's like a lot of things that we're afraid of in life, because the first time we have it come up in front of us, it troubles the shit out of us. But the second time, not so much. Third time, you're getting a bit more comfortable. By the fourth time, you're okay standing. Then after that, it doesn't really matter you anymore at all.
Hey, just want to get back into the army quickly before we go to some of the questions on the floor. Can you remember your basic training like it was yesterday? Like those first few days? Can you tell me about that? I just want to geek out for a minute. Like, remember, did you go there and think, oh my God, someone's yelling at me, what am I doing? And
no, well, I spent the first year, I was 16 years old when I first started in the forces, so I did quite a few trainings with the territorials in 6 Airaki. And I joined as an RIT when I was old enough, 17, and then I spent a year training, did annual camps, everything as a recruit in training, they called it. So when I went down to Bassick, I already knew how to march and I knew a few things, but I sort of still portrayed the grey man. I don't know nothing. And when we arrived on the bus, corporal's all there, door opens, and you're right, the barking starts. Because I felt like a sheep in the pen. I was like, whoa, which way do I go? Do I jump on the other sheep, get out of the bus? What do you do? Like trying to get out of a stock truck. And they're standing there, I've got a bus ticket, he goes, who wants to go home? And I'm like, he's got bus tickets in his hand, he's waving them around, I go, oh, it's just got here. And they're lined up and everything, I'm standing there, and they go, this is welcome to Waihuru. Well, that's where soldiers are born. If you ain't been to Waihuru, you ain't been born into a soldier, eh? That's where we're all forged, like a knife, come out of there sharp as anything. Hey, and the other things I remember from my basic training, getting on charge, insubordination, not doing as I was told, you know, because I'm a smoker. I like my old cigarettes, it's one of the only sort of niches I still have left. And, well, because I'm not a quitter, not yet. I haven't quit anything in my life. And we're all told, no smoking in your tents. And the hutchies have got no doors and windows, so you just lie under a fly, and that's okay. But me and my mate, because they didn't have enough hutchies, we had to share a 2-man tent. So we got down to our long johns and that, and we were both smokers, and we said, oh, should we last ciggy before bed? But I said, yeah, why not? So we get us out, nah, in our long johns, smoking up in our tent, finished our ciggy, 5 minutes went past, and then up comes the door. And the smoke just wafted out, cool, we get smoking in the tent, it's cool, we'll get outside. So we stood in the snow for 40 minutes in our socks, in our long johns, at attention while he finished doing the beat check. He come back around and goes, I'll deal with these in the morning. Well, we had no idea that at 4 o'clock that morning they were going to attack the little campsite we were at. So we had a smoke grenade rolled under our tent, and thunder flashes going off, the whole campsite was getting attacked, and we had to bug out, pack up everything. Wow, do you think me and my mate Harmy ought to find out? We managed to get our boots on, all I had on was still my long john. No socks, they were wet because I took them off from standing in the snow that night. And my mate Harmy, because of Smokey, just took off, ran, took the tent with him. The door was open, so all our gear was just laying out on the ground. Well, we grabbed our pack, got our webbing on, grabbed our rifles, and we were off. Nothing in our packs. And we marched all the way out to Tank Pine. It was about 13k, and then all the way back, and the sun was up by the time we got back to the camp, and everybody's faces was clean, except for ours. Everything was there apart from the pack on my back, my webbing and my rifle, the tent, sleeping bags, rations, you name it. We had left everything behind. No, we just took everything, and we got 7 days confined to barrack CB, which is you lose all your privileges in life for 7 days. And I spent my last day on CB building the new grenade shelter they have out of sandbags in Waihuru when they closed down the one that was next to the museum. Yeah, they finally realised that it was too close, so they moved it out to Tank Pond. Yeah, so that's my sort of some of my fondest memories of basic training, and you know that 7 days is a long time to be running from 5 in the morning till about midnight every day for 7 days. And we used to do the Mad Mile, which is at night, where you would go from your barracks and he would say to you, I want you dressed in your long johns, black shorts over the top, blanket wrapped around your neck, balaclava on top, and I want you down in the butts at Old Class Range, which is a mile away, with an iron shoelace on a hanger and a toothbrush with red toothpaste on it. And that's the dress that you have to turn up there. You've got 10 minutes and away you go. And if you're late, well, you're down there pushing around the ground away until he's happy, and then just gives you another one. We moved the gravel pit one day from one of the transport shelters to the hospital, and then moved it back using our packs. So those are some of the stuff, and it's all character building stuff. That's what they told us. No,
I love it. I love it. I remember the Mad Mile. You'll call us and you tell your stories. Now let's do some questions from our wonderful audience. Who are your heroes, Willie and T? Who are your heroes, or who you look up to? Inspiration.
My heroes are probably Pat McPhee and Robert Hollis. Yeah, so they're my heroes just because they step outside the square and yeah, had a lot of risk out there, so I like taking risk. And now you, bro.
Yeah. No, my hero is my mum. She's the toughest, most resilient person I've ever known. Been there every day of my life for me. and still at the age of 40 something, still grousing, which is cool. Hey, makes you feel like that little boy again with no beard, handsome. Hey, but no, you know, my mum's my hero. It's just our way of life that we grew up, the values that she wrapped around us as young kids growing up, and whatever hardship or challenge that came into our lives, she always made sure we came first, which I will always remember.
Awesome. I think because Willie has shared some amazing basic training stories, one of the questions here, T, is the funniest moment you've ever had on the farm.
I slept in. It was it was my first year down south. Slept in, woke up, run to the cow shed with nothing on but my gumboots and my overalls in my hand. Rocked up to the cow shed and my boss's wife was milking. Yeah.
Cold morning, eh?
Cold morning. Middle of winter, bro. But I use that excuse all the time. So.
Brilliant, I love it, I love it. This is a great one that we talked about yesterday. What advice would you give your younger self?
I wouldn't give him anything, because you know, what has happened in my life has happened for a reason. I don't want to change anything. You know, I don't regret anything that's happened in my life, because it's challenged me to make choices and decisions that have made me the person I am today, which is Brodie Apiata is.
For me, probably, I would tell myself, my younger self, that it's okay to fail, and that failure is just a reflection, probably. Yeah.
Geez, that's wise. Hey? We need to get you like a quote board for that. You could start selling that. You know, like live, life, live, what is that one? Live, laugh, love?
Live, love, laugh.
Yeah, you could have a new one.
What's yours, bro?
What would I teach my younger self?
Yeah.
Not to worry about what other people think of me. Yeah.
Cool.
This is actually just a message for you, Willie. Willie, the Pukekohe Primary School mums love seeing you at school drop off. Keep it up.
That's probably because I'm always in shorts.
That'll be it. I know. Yeah, I love it. And then, T, what do you think is the hardest thing about being a farmer in New Zealand?
Probably the uncertainty for the future, to be honest, bro. It's like, you know, we've a lot of rules and regulations that have been thrown at us with no, the goalposts just keep getting moved. So we try and like aim for something, but we don't know what we're aiming for now. So that's probably the toughest thing at the moment.
Yeah, I did hear, I think it was on the news yesterday, that there's been a big mad rush of everyone buying up all the utes and vehicles before the electric vehicle rules came in. So there's good sales going on. But yeah, you're right, there are big challenges along the way. So I guess all the more important to be that sort of sense of community and talk to each other and support each other. Before we wrap things up, I wonder, has anyone got any questions? We've had some amazing ones on here, but everyone's got a good yarn?
Sure, Willie. I always wondered, not long after you were awarded the VC, whether you come from an anonymous, it's a pretty elite training force and special forces where you're supposed to be anonymous. Everyone's supposed to know who you are and what you do. Whether getting that VC and suddenly becoming in the public eye worried you about your persona being exposed, was that ever an issue?
Very much so, very much so. And it changed and altered my whole career. As you can see, the photo the Frenchman took in Kabul when I was coming back, we had just finished that big incident in the city. You know, that ended up Jerry Mataparai giving me a phone call going, "Where's your helmet, bro?" And me, "Oh, well, I didn't have time to grab it, mate." You know how things go. And in the papers they say he was growling me. But you know, it is a challenging thing, eh? And
did you have fear from the fact you were exposed from the enemy's perspective? Was that?
yeah, well, definitely, and that's why, you know, photography of my kids is a no-no. I'm the only one that gets photoed, because you know, I've got to try and protect them. Because not everyone's happy. I've got a VC. People lost their lives there that night. So, you know, they're not going to be happy. So, you know, I try my best myself for my own personal security, for my family, and then what I do in it, you know. But how much can you do? The last thing I want to do is build a compound around my home and have a swipe card that only, you know, certain people can have. So, you know, you've got to find a balance with it somewhere. I'm still finding it. You know, it's like the pursuit of excellence in anything in life. You will get really, really close, but you will actually never ever attain excellence. Sometimes we get it on our report card, it gives us a warm and fuzzy, woohoo, but you know, you're close to it. Hey, but what it's there for is each day we just try and do everything just a little bit better. You know, if we're driving that tractor pretty good today, tomorrow we will drive it even better. I will plough that field, I will dress that other field. You know, whatever you're doing, it's finding it and putting in those fine touches on things and becoming like farming, making it actually just run smooth, hey, without too many kinks in it. Because a lot of people say to me, is the VC a burden? Well, shucks, if it was a burden, I'd be drunk and destitute and somewhere else. I wouldn't be sitting here. I've turned it not into a burden, but into something that I've got to live with. And I just put the values around the award and my family and myself to help support us to get through that. So that's why I go to schools and teach our young people about values, because they give you something to straighten you up again. You know, Sophie Pascoe told me about the swimming lane that she uses, and I use it all the time now, because the swimming lane, you've got a black line in the middle, a couple of ropes on the side, and follow your black line. But I've swum in many of those pools and I still hit the rope now and then, eh? You know, because I've got my eyes closed sometimes, I'm getting sore or whatever. But you never go straight in the pool, unless you're good like Sophie Pascoe. But you'll go to the rope. Well, the ropes give you reflection. And then as you reflect, it guides you back to the centre again, back on course. Because, you know, we're going to go off course so many times, but it's what do we have there to steady us up again? And that's what it is, eh? There's no magic bullet or anything like that. It is just, for me, values is what keeps me on the straight and narrow as best possible. And support it.
Awesome. Well, look, I think you probably all will be like me and think that that was goddamn awesome. Thank you so much, Willie and Tangaroa, for your time, for your stories. Yeah, I think it's just it's so great to be able to sit with a whole bunch of people in this environment and just have a yarn. So thank you, and thank you so much for joining us. We are back at 2:30. We might like mix up the yarns. If you want to come back, go away and have a feed and a beer and then come back. But also we've got the wonderful team over at AonAgri. Darren, Ezra, Bryn, Dave are there if you're needing to talk about things, because, you know, farming has the weather, and Canterbury, they've been busy down there the past couple of weeks. But again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to Willie and Tangaroa.